and families. I'm so glad you're here with us. Today actually feels like a great day. For me, it feels like the first day of spring, which I love. And I also am starting to feel really optimistic about our return to campus with the numbers falling. And it just seems like we are turning a corner. So with that said, I know you guys are a very special group of Madison Bulldogs because many of you and your families have never been on our campus. And I want to let you know that our campus is, although it's very large, it is a very dynamic, very safe, very warm, and familial environment. And with that said, sixth graders, I really, really want to encourage you to get involved and to get involved now. Educators, your teachers, and Madison staff know that the more you're involved, the greater your middle school experience will be. And because of that, Madison staff puts a lot of energy into making very fun clubs. I had an opportunity to visit Animal Club recently and with my own dog, Takuma, and meet the students and their animals. But we have many, many clubs, many events, many specialized electives. So I encourage you to take part, to start participating. If you want to learn opportunities, contact your counselors. They can help you get involved. And we look forward to returning soon with you. While we have been remote learning, Madison has continued to grow and to better ourselves. And for the parents out there, I want to just give you a little bit of an update. Next year, we're proud to be starting an Armenian dual language program, which will be the first middle school program for our students who are interested in developing their academic and cultural knowledge of Armenia and also of the Armenian language. We also have been strengthening our community outreach programs. I had the good fortune yesterday to visit a science class that works with the students from UCLA's biomedical engineering. And it was a great opportunity for our kids to interact with UCLA students. I'm also proud to announce that pretty soon Madison will be announcing that we earned a Amazon Future Engineer grant for next year. Many thanks to Ms. Lester who led the effort, and that we will be expanding our computer science and engineering programs in all the schools, but particularly in the Discover Academy. So those are some exciting updates. Cheryl, before I go on to the return to campus, do you want to go through translation?
Yes, thank you. You'll see that we put up on our screen sharing here how to get translation. We have both English and Spanish. So if you go down to the bottom where your black bar is and you click interpretation, if you need to hear in English, please push English. If you need to hear in Spanish, please put Spanish. That way you can listen to our presentation in either language. Here is our Q&A. So if you have any questions, please type into the Q&A and we're happy to answer them either as we go along, if they're individuals, or if they're good questions for the whole group, we will wait until the very end to answer them. Here is our middle school mission as Madison Bulldogs. And here is our safe school plan. Ms. Parker?
So many of you, many times a day, contact me and say, when can we come back to campus? And the answer to that is as soon as the county and the LA Unified determine that it's safe. But there are things that we can do right now to help move that forward. And the LA Unified has made a little video, it's about a minute long, of 3 things that each of us can do. So we're going to play the video and then I'll explain what the Daily Pass is.
In order to eventually return to the classroom, we all need to follow these safe steps to safe schools. 1. Commit to healthy behaviors like wearing your mask, staying socially distant, and washing your hands. 2. Use the new Daily Pass. The Daily Pass is a web tool used to schedule COVID-19 tests and get test results. It is also where you can answer the daily health check questions required to eventually get back onto a campus. 3. Take your COVID-19 test at a Los Angeles Unified Testing site. To schedule your test, go to dailypass.lausd.net. If we all take these safe steps, together we can help stop the spread of COVID-19 and get back to school.
So what the video covered, Madison Bulldogs, is it covered 3 things that we can do to help move forward into returning to campus. The first is that we continue to exercise our safe behaviors, always wearing a mask, staying 6 feet apart from each other so that we don't, we reduce our risk of infection, and washing our hands frequently. Another thing we can do that I want to make sure that all Madison families know is that any LA Unified student or any family member or person living in a home with an LA Unified student is able to get free COVID testing on our campus. And it could not be easier. Most of the time you can get a same-day appointment. It takes about 5 minutes. And it's a good way for us to know that we're staying healthy and that we're not at risk of infecting others. Once we go back to school, we will have to do COVID testing, each of us. And for those students who right now are doing on-campus tutoring after school, it is required that you do a COVID test each week. So if you're one of those students who, when we reached out, said yes, you would like to do on-campus tutoring, just know that that's a requirement. The next thing, and you will be getting lots of information on this, and we will practice it a lot before we come back to campus, but just know that the LA Unified has a new application. And the application, every day before you come to school, you and your parent will be doing what's called a daily pass. And the application asks us, the daily pass, a few questions. How are we feeling? Do we have a cough? Are we being as safe as we can be? And as long as the answer is yes to each of those questions, you will get a QR code. And that QR code is how we're going to be able to get onto campus. It's same for us. Every day when I wake up in the morning at 6 a.m., I do a daily pass. And without my daily pass, I'm not permitted on campus. So we will be teaching you all how to do it. But what's really, really important right now, and we're going to start holding workshops weekly on Friday, headed by Miss Lester, is that every parent gets a parent portal account, because that's going to make it easier for us to help you get daily passes. Like, she will be sending your students, and we will be sending a Connect Ed as to when our next parent portal meeting is. So make sure, parents, if you're not signed up, please attend the meeting to sign up. Moving on. Moving on.
But in terms of being a good digital citizen, we are also good citizens offline as well. And part of being a good citizen in this world is to be inclusive. And this is one of the ways that we are being inclusive at Madison Middle School. So Ms. Downs, if you would like to unmute yourself and introduce it in a minute.
Okay, you want me to do it now?
Yes.
Okay, so real quick, my name is Miss Downs. I'm the Madison Middle School Inclusion Facilitator. I'm a special ed teacher at Madison, and I look forward to going back on campus so I can see all these faces, these new faces. We want to get to see you guys. Our campus is part of a pilot program that is increasing inclusive opportunities. So what that means for parents and students that more of our students with special needs will be participating in general education classes. So we have a couple teachers here that are great examples of how this is done. So I think we're going to begin with Ms. Moon. Ms. Moon, are you there?
I am here. Good morning. All right. So my name is Miss Moon. Primarily, I'm usually an 8th grade science teacher, but I've had the utmost honor to be able to have my college EDS class with Miss Davison and Miss Kim and Mr. Saul. And I'm not going to read it for verbatim, and I can't go into too much detail, but this is what our class is about. And a long story short, we do a lot of life skill things like traveling and budgeting, which is what we're doing right now with money management. And in terms of class size, they're pretty nice and small. So I take care of my non-special education students' grades and stuff like that. So currently we have Miss Kim, Mr. Saul, and then Miss Davison, who is the special education teacher. So I have 16 students. They have 16 students as well. And we also have Miss Jane Downs, who is helping us out, carry on. So a lot of just basic skills that isn't quite taught in school all the time. And so they had a lot of fun with this, included pictures, looked at food places. And we had a lot of fun just doing this and presenting it to the rest of the class. Too much time. So now I will pass it on over to Miss Krupa and stop sharing.
Good morning, Bulldogs. Happy Friday. My name is Miss Krupa. I am the 6th through 8th grade history teacher and 6th grade science teacher. The inclusion team is excited to show you the student-made video just for you. So we hope you enjoy it. I will not play the entire video. I will pause it and then move towards the end. But again, we hope you enjoy it, and happy Friday.
Hello everyone, I'm Samuel and we have Miss Krupa.
Hello everyone!
Today, Miss Krupa and I are going to present our Period 6 inclusion slides titled Moving Forward Together. Let's get going.
This assignment is titled Vocabulary Builder. Students were given an opportunity to redo the assignment if they wanted to. Students were given words and they had to find their definition, study them, make slides about the words, and add pictures. Here are some of the slides that the students made. These lessons are by the Stanford History Education Group. Each unit has SHEG lessons we incorporate in the history course. These are challenging assignments for our students. However, with guided support, they do phenomenal with it. Students were critical thinkers, having to engage with the text and the source of the document. Students read, discussed, and questioned the article.
So on this slide, we can see the 5-pillar assignment. These slides were based on the 5-pillar lesson. We watched a video and read about the 5 pillars of Islam. After we discussed the video and readings in small groups, it gave us a chance to start the slides having fresh ideas in our heads. This is how it turned out. This was really fun.
Students had the opportunity to receive feedback from their peers. This assignment was scaffolded, broken down in small bits with paraprofessional support when needed. This assignment in particular was noteworthy as the SDC students were willing to receive feedback from our general education students and vice versa. This is where the adults saw our students bonding with each other the most.
I'm going to pause here. I'm going to move it forward a little bit because of time. I'd like you to hear what a fellow classmate has to say. One moment, please. Here we go.
Generate response using Flipgrid. Now let's see what Jade has to say.
What I feel about learning in home is hard because it's not easier and stressful, and in school is easier. What I like learning about history is that it has good details and it makes it more fun. I like having 2 teachers because the other teacher can help other students when they need help. Yes, I do get the help that I need by other teachers. I like having classmates because we can work as a group and other things.
Last but not least, students and adults in our inclusion course signed this slide. It was a way for us to remember we are all included and we are all moving forward together.
Thank you, Sample, for your participation and creativity making this presentation.
Thank you for helping me along the way.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.
All right, I'm going to pass this over to Miss Bloom. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you both, Ms. Moon and Ms. Krupa. That was great, and I appreciate your ability to, on the fly, work around any kind of issues with the presentation. We're going to go back now to our digital citizenship, and I am going to introduce our presenter at this time, which is Ms. Prudhomme. Thank you very much. She is our ITI, which has to do with instructional technology support, and she's going to talk to us about, just like we learned about how to be a good person offline, we're going to learn with good people how to be good people online, because it's very important to be inclusive, not only in school, but also online. Go ahead.
All right, thank you so much for the introduction and good morning, everyone. My name is Ms. Prudhomme and I'm so excited to talk to you today a little bit about what it means to be a good digital citizen. So if you're not quite familiar, let's go ahead and get started with a short video to help us think about some questions that good digital citizens ask. Moving on. Thank you so much. So that question at the end is incredibly important. How will I be a good digital citizen today? And I really want you to have that in mind as we move forward with our activities in this presentation, because that will help you come up with really good answers to the questions that we're going to ask. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right, so this is digital citizenship in action. What would you do? So for my participants today, I want you to go ahead and put on your thinking cap and get started. One thing that we're gonna invite you to do is the chat is not on, but I will be asking some questions that you can respond to in the Q&A, and you can find that towards the bottom of your screen. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right, this activity is called Let's Talk, Turning Negative to Positive. So what we're going to do, we're going to consider something that sounds a little bit negative that you might see online and how we can actually navigate that and turn it into something positive. But before we show you those terms, we're actually going to ask you a couple of questions. So let's get started with the next slide. All right, this is what is going to go in the Q&A, your response to this question. Have you or anyone you know ever experienced a random act of kindness online? And so I simply would like a yes or a no answer. Has anyone just been kind for no reason and said something warm or helpful or anything like that towards you or someone else? So we'll give you a second to write yes or no. Okay, we have some responses. I see some yeses. Someone said they've been really kind online. Okay, perfect. I did see a no there as well, and I'm so sorry. I do hope that you get a chance to experience kindness online. A couple of no's. All right, perfect. Let's take a look at the next question. Moving on. All right, my next question is, have you or anyone you know seen someone be negative online? So is that a yes or is that a no? All right, we are getting in quite a few responses with yeses. And in fact, I would probably say there's a lot more yeses than there are nos for this question. And when we get into our activity, that is something we really want to change. We want more people to say, no, I don't actually experience anything negative online. And we have the power to make a difference and change that. All right, I see some students saying, yes, I see this a lot. All right, so let's get started with our activity. Let's go to the next slide. So what simple actions can we take to turn negative interactions into positive ones? So in just a moment, I'm going to show you the next slide. And on that slide, you will see a comment at the top of the slide. And that comment is a negative comment. And you'll be able to figure out a way to turn it into a positive one. So let's take a look at the first negative comment. Moving on. All right, this is so bad. Who told her she can sing? So we have two options here. Number one, how could you have made the same or similar point in a more positive or a constructive way? So if you see something like this online, then maybe you don't necessarily think that the person did the best job, but there's a few different things that you could do. Right? So what could you possibly say? If you're responding to number one, you can add that into the Q&A. And then for number two, you can decide if one of your classmates made comments like these, how could you respond in a way that would make the conversation more positive? So since this is our first one, I'll give you an example of what you could answer for number one. So for number one, you could simply say, wow, you've gotten so much better than before. Keep up all of your practicing. You're definitely getting better. That's one way. Good. And I see someone added in the chat. Keep up what you're doing. You're doing a good job. Okay, that's awesome. And you could say that maybe she needs to keep trying so that her voice will get better. Yes, these are all perfect ways to rephrase the negative comment. And so if we're thinking about number two, and you saw someone else write this comment, how could you switch that? How could you be an upstander and make things more positive? How could you stop someone else from making a comment like this and turn it more positive? So I'll give you a second to add that in the Q&A. Oh, okay, I see some great responses here. So you could tell them that they're good. You could say, oh, you must be having such a good time singing. Bulldogs, I really love these responses. You're being very thoughtful about how you can turn something negative into positive. You know, something else that you could also say is, I think she did a really good job. It's not easy getting up in front of everyone and singing like that. I know I couldn't do that. So excellent. I think she sings great. Oh, I like someone also added in our Q&A, you can just tell a teacher and comfort the person. That's an excellent response. If you see someone being bullied online or someone making negative comments about someone, it's a great thing to tell an adult and let them know what's going on and also to comfort them. Excellent. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, Nobody even wears those anymore. Now, I'm sure we may have seen something like this online where someone is talking about someone else's clothing, or the shoes that they're wearing, or their makeup, or any of those things. And we really want to combat those negative messages. So I want you to take a moment. We're thinking about number 1 now. How might you rephrase this statement to make it more positive? What can you say differently? Oh, I see you guys are coming up with some great responses here. All right, so I like how he or she is bringing back old trends. Yes, and someone did mention, don't say anything if you're going to be mean. Someone else said, oh, you're going retro, that's so cool. I actually think that looks really good on her or him. Oh, someone said, I would say, I like your clothes and they look nice, and I like how you are at school. Wow, look at that clothing. And again, someone is also mentioning, you can just ignore it if you don't like something. Bulldogs, you are showing that you are excellent digital citizens already with these questions. Okay, now I want you to consider part 2. So you're taking on the role of an upstander. You saw that someone else wrote a comment like this online. How are you going to respond? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? Oh, I like this response. She can wear anything that she wants that makes her comfortable. She looks great in that. Those are beautiful. Where did you get them from? I've never seen them before. Again, either ignore them or you get offline. Someone is sharing, if you don't like it, keep your own opinion to yourself. I would say that she has amazing taste. Also, there's someone who said, let her be her. Exactly. And I love what you're wearing. All right. If you have nothing good to say, don't say anything. So it's really important as we're looking at these scenarios that these are things that we have likely seen before. And so it's really good practice to start to think of ways that you can respond in these situations so you're not in the situation unsure of what to do. And later on in your classes, you'll actually get an opportunity to do a little more practice with that. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so now that you all have the hang of it, I'm gonna shorten our time a little bit for this one. So this one says, no offense, but your writing is embarrassing. So you should probably switch groups for this project. All right, you can choose to respond to number 1 or number 2 with your response. So go ahead, let's write those answers in. How are you gonna turn this negative into positive? All right, I would tell the student to ignore people that are bullying them. Oh my God, your writing is so beautiful, someone wrote. Ooh, you take that back. She or he will help the group. Oh, I really want to call out a question, a response from a student that is responding to number 1. They wrote, do you think I could write instead? That's a really good way. If you feel like someone maybe writing is not their strength, instead of telling them that they're doing a horrible job and making them feel bad about themselves, you can certainly volunteer to take on that particular task. Let's take a look at some of these other responses. I like her writing. It is very different from the others, and that makes it unique. Excellent. You are getting better at your writing. These are really wonderful and thoughtful responses. Thank you so much for all of these. All right, before we move on, I want to call out one more. We don't all write the same way, and her writing is good. And she doesn't have to switch groups if she doesn't want to. All right, great job, Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and close this out. Give yourselves a round of applause. You did a really good job with this activity. And I'm going to start by finish up here by giving you some reminders about digital citizenship, but excellent work today. Moving on. All right, so these are a few things that I want you to keep in mind. So the first one that I want you to keep in mind here is to be smart. And if you are going to share online, I want you to share with care. Okay, so thoughtfully consider what you share and with whom you are sharing it. Understand the consequences that come along with what you're sharing. Remember that what you put out there will be a consequence. It might not happen immediately, it might happen later. So it's really important that you think smartly about what you're doing. And then of course, keep extra sensitive information to yourself. Moving on. All right, really important that we are kind, and you all showed me that you do an excellent job at being kind online. So use the power of your voice to amplify and spread positivity online. Just as much as there's negative information online, you can fill online spaces with your positivity. Block mean or inappropriate behavior and definitely tell an adult, and speak up against bullying and report it any chance that you get. Moving on. We also want you to be brave. So when in doubt, talk it out. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, if you see something that you think is not okay, speak up when you notice it. Also, stand up when you see something that you're not comfortable with. Just like we demonstrated today, if someone else says something rude or inappropriate, yes, it might not feel comfortable for us to be the person to say something, but we should feel comfortable with that, and we need to be brave in doing so. And definitely report when you witness people being treated poorly online. That is so very, very important. All right, let's move on to the next slide. All right, so there's also a quick little reminder video for you as well. So pay attention here. Here we go.
Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep.
So that last reminder on this video was, can I use social media to make a positive change in the world? And you most certainly can. And you've demonstrated that this morning with your responses. And I really look forward to seeing how you all as Bulldogs are challenging and making these online spaces more positive for everyone that's there. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so this is a quotation from the Center for Social Media Responsibility at the University of Michigan. And I love this definition of a digital citizen because I think it kind of covers everything. So a good digital citizen protects their personal information, uses good judgment, and most importantly, treats others with respect. All right, let's move on to the next one. And as we end today, we want you to remember to always, always, always practice good digital citizenship. And as Ms. Bloom mentioned earlier, being a good citizen, yes, we have good digital citizenship, but it's just as important to be a good citizen offline as well. So remember to be positive in both of those spaces. And I'm really excited for you all to do the follow-up activity in your classes where you'll get even more practice about being a good digital citizen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Prudhomme. That was excellent. And now that we are familiar with all the things that we can do to put positivity into this world, both online and off, we are going to dismiss in just a minute so that all of our students can go back to their second period classes. And the teachers there have another activity for you to follow this up, because this is something that not only do we need to be aware of, but we need to practice all the time to make sure that we are being kind in all situations. Ms. Parker, before we dismiss, are there any last thoughts from you?
No, I just want to thank the whole team for putting this together, and also the teachers for supporting today's assembly. So thank you guys, and everybody stay safe and have a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely. Remember to be kind over the weekends as well, not just during school time. But we are now going to dismiss everyone to go back to their second periods. We thank our parents for today very, very much. We will have another coffee with the principal with a different topic next month. Students, thank you for participating. You did a fabulous job in the Q&A. There were some incredible comments there, and we'd like for you to continue that in your class with the follow-up. Teachers, thank you for being here. And as always, to all of my presenters, you guys were incredible today, and I'm really proud to be a part of Madison. Thank you all very much. Go on back to class. Thank you, parents. And as Ms. Parker said, enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.